A brand new Monica Long interview talking about crypto and regulation, how it's going to help financial institutions speed up this process to this digital transformation. We also hear almost the same thing from the CEO of Uphold. We believe in a multi-chain world. We also have some information from Chad Steingraber basically saying XRP is in a checkmate scenario right now with the industry. We're going to get into what all of this means. I also have a ton of other XRP related and crypto content. How are you doing on a Sunday? Let's just dive in.
Would the U.S. Trump administration's pro-crypto stance, the Genius Act, have anything to do with kind of, boosting the appeal as well for RLUSD?
I think stablecoins and actually the digital asset industry at large have had a breakthrough year with institutional adoption. And I think that regulatory clarity coming out of the U.S. with that, first the Genius Act, now we have the Clarity Act, working its way through legislation. I think that was a pretty big pivot point, and we could for sure we saw it within the U.S. market in terms of banks engaging with us on their digital asset strategies. But kind of to my pleasant surprise, I've noticed a pretty big momentum shift outside of the U.S. as well. Being here this week in Singapore for the FinTech Festival, we've had a number of meetings with banks all throughout the Southeast Asia region, and everyone's really leaning in.
Everybody's really leaning in across the world. What you're seeing here is countries, cities in specific countries, all trying to compete to be that crypto hub of the world, which means they're going to give favorable, taxes and regulations and everything to bring investors and bring entrepreneurs and bring developers to those places to build out the future of this technology. We all know that blockchain is the future of the financial system. Who is going to get the largest share, that largest piece of the pie? That's really what's up for grabs still. Another thing that was talked about here is regulation. Banks need to understand what they can and can't do in the industry. If they don't have those proper rules, they are not going to touch it. That's why we're still speculating on XRP being 250 or 240, because we're not at a utility point yet where the technology is being used. The reason why it's supposed to be used, right? We're not at that point yet. We will be there soon. How soon? I don't think anyone can really tell you guys. Waiting for this Clarity Act that involves Congress getting together and figuring stuff out. And we have seen over the last few months that these people can't stand each other. And so when are they going to just suck it up and do what's right for the American people here? I don't know, man. I can't tell you. All right. And then here you go. Uphold. We believe in a multi-chain world. Uphold CEO, is it Stephen McLaughlin? Simon McLaughlin. I do apologize. Or on why banks are turning to infrastructure providers like Uphold to connect across blockchains without the heavy lifting. This is pretty juicy.
We believe in a multi-chain world.
Okay.
It's not like there's going to be one chain that's going to be most successful. We see a world in which there are going to be hundreds of different blockchains, each one suited to a different use case. And so, for a bank, the natural thing to do is to plug into an infrastructure provider like Uphold, because we keep up to date on all the chains.
So you could offer any of the chains?
Yeah. So we offer today, we've got 43 different blockchains, 9 stable coins running on 24 different networks. And what a bank needs to do is to plug into an infrastructure provider that provides composability in terms of linkage to different chains, because fundamentally a bank needs to just sit on a network of blockchains so they can get money to wallet addresses on virtually any network. The idea of integrating those networks in-house, it doesn't work. It takes typically 2 or 3 months to integrate a blockchain. They all are written in different languages, they have different configurations. It's a very complex exercise. So what we're finding is banks come to us so that we do the infrastructure heavy lifting. They can concentrate on sexy products for their customers.
To watch more of this.
That's actually pretty smart here. You got to understand that like Uphold and other, exchanges like Coinbase and these types of things, they really want to be those providers for everybody. They want to have the technology that you come and you pay us to use our infrastructure. Crypto and blockchain is very complicated. And a bank is not going to go build out the infrastructure that Uphold has built out, because that is going to take years, right? If one blockchain takes 2 to 3 months to do all of the integration, imagine how long it would take to bring on 30 blockchains or 100 blockchains. So banks aren't really interested in that, right? They do banking best. So they're going to go with the Upholds, the Ripples, the Coinbases of the world, because that is the path that is most easy. And then if any of the infrastructure fails, it is not on the bank, it is on the provider of the infrastructure, right? And so this does de-risk that bank from having all of the risk. And so I just think, Uphold's making a smart play here. They're moving to this multi-chain world. We understand that that's going to be important, and they want to be one of the bigger players in that world. So my hat's off to them. All right, here you go. Chad Steingraber. He says, let's be real for a moment. There are two options. One, XRP price stays the same as today and the ETFs take the entire circulating supply in exactly 1 year, or the XRP price goes up dramatically and the acquisition of XRP goes down because it takes more money to buy less. Either way, we win. Checkmate. So whether the price goes up or the price goes down, he's saying we're going to win either way. I guess if the price goes down, I would be a little bit happier because then I could buy more XRP, right? If XRP is like $10 or $20, it's going to take $20,000 or $10,000 to buy 1,000 XRP. Right now, I can put 10,000 to buy, 4,000 or 5,000 XRP, depending on what the price is. Can I get a little bit more time? I know everybody wants to go to the moon already, but I would like to buy more. All right. And then I asked Lexi to break some of this logic down. It says the post presents a simplified logic about the impact of ETFs, demand on XRP price and supply. The argument proposes two outcomes. Option one, if the price of XRP remains the same as today, ETF buying pressure could be strong enough to acquire the entire circulating supply within 1 year. We know that there's less than, a few billion XRP actually left on exchanges that is available for the demand of these ETFs. And then this scenario assumes constant demand by ETFs and no significant change in supply price for 12 months, which we do know if there's going to be a lot of demand, the price is going to have to go up, right? Because if you reduce that circulating supply, what's available on exchanges, you're going to get a larger market cap multiplier. And this is where people will be like, oh, $10 XRP, maybe I'll sell some. $20 XRP, maybe I'll sell some, right? Everybody thinks differently here, right? You might be thinking, hey, I'm here for that $500, that $1,000 price. Like that is the risk I'm willing to take. Some other people are not as risky as you. Though some other people are saying, hey, $10 looks pretty good. I bought this at 30 cents. $10, man, that's the 30X. Cash me out. That is, everybody's going to be different here. So how this is going to unfold, your guess is as good as mine. The implication is such buying pressure would eventually exhaust available XRP, creating a supply shock unless new sellers emerge or supply changes. And then option two, price rises, slow acquisition pace. The ETF demand drives up the price dramatically. It becomes more expensive to buy the same amount of XRP. As XRP becomes pricier, ETFs can acquire less with the same capital, slowing the rate at which circulating supply is absorbed. This outcome benefits existing holders through potential price appreciation. And the checkmate is explained. The statement, either way, we win, assumes that both scenarios, full supply absorption or significant price appreciation, result in favorable outcome for XRP holders. So that was actually a pretty fun post. Highlighted that. Make sure that you're following, Chad if you want to. And then Riz XRP is pretty cool too. And then Ripple's unmatched position in crypto. This is from Digital Perspective Brad's. When I first got into XRP, Brad Kimes was the place that I got my news and information. This is before I learned how to do this myself, right? And, we think a little differently in life. But I respect how Brad's been in the industry longer than almost anybody that I know in the XRP space, and I highly value his opinions.
Interledger protocol, the ILP, and the patents cement its unmatched position in crypto, but not just crypto, but in the financial infrastructure that also involves crypto. And if we go into Smoke Dog's post here, this is where I believe the game gets really interesting long term, because you know that ILP gives the ability for the network to talk to any particular protocol, whether it is a legacy protocol or whether it's a distributed ledger or blockchain protocol. That's the flexibility about this. And it goes through here and explains as an example, not only can it talk to crypto networks, right, but with the help and transaction and verification process of RippleNet, the most interesting aspects regarding the ILP is that we will seamlessly manage payments when the sender's currency is different from the receiver's currency, or when the sender's payment network is different from the receiver's payment network. You can see how quickly this gets really messy, but they've got it all figured out. with RippleNet, the ILP, and the ledger, right? You take an example of payment issued on fiat currency network using MasterCard, Visa, or wire transfer, and the receiver receives it on an account, also known as a wallet, created within the payment system, using a cryptocurrency. Remember, Ripple just bought Palisade to give everybody a wallet, too. The Interledger Protocol, ILP, offers a means to bridge the cryptocurrencies and fiat to enable interoperable and fast value exchange. They rely on plug-in for settlement over a digital asset ledger like XRP or Bitcoin, as they cite there. But you can go on and see that banks and other financial institutions can now carry out international transactions more quickly and affordable thanks to Ripple's XRP patented RippleNet. By securing a patent for its technology, Ripple guarantees a sole authority over its inventive payment system, prohibiting rivals from unauthorized use of comparable blockchains. Now, that is something that a financial system would look at and go, yeah, that I'll use, right?
All right, really quickly, I zoomed in there because it was really hard to see what he was reading. And I know some of you like to read it yourself. So I was trying to help that out. All right. And then also breaking GDLC makes history. Grayscale CoinDesk Crypto 5 ETF. Now the first diversified crypto product in the US. Now we know that these spot single products are going to be pretty popular. Some obviously more popular than others. And then you're going to have these baskets, right? And I think the baskets are where a lot of the money is going to go into. So this is a Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, and ADA basket. Let me give you some additional context here.
Today, we are highlighting GDLC, the Grayscale CoinDesk Crypto 5 ETF. This is the first diversified crypto product in the United States. It features Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Sol, and ADA.
Talk to me about what this moment means for you and Grayscale's journey.
Yeah, very exciting. Grayscale has been in this business now for 12 years. We have the highest longevity in the asset class. And in every year we innovated, we launched the first to market. GDLC is once again us innovating and being first to market with the first product that in one click, investors can get access to 90% of the digital assets asset class.
You know, I was at Ripple Swell earlier this week talking to Brad Garlinghouse, and he said, wouldn't it be great if there was an ETF that had a basket of assets for investors? And here we are a few days later talking about GDLC. Talk to me about what this means for the industry.
It is a real milestone. I think the industry is now more and more is evolving towards how traditional finance works. So for investors that want a tactical exposure to XRP or Solana or Bitcoin, we have a product, we meet them where they are. But more and more investors are telling us they want a core exposure to digital assets. They can set and forget, and in one click, they get everything they need, and that's GDLC.
In one click, they get everything that they need. And of course, we are waiting, right? Today is the 16th. On the 22nd, which is next week, Swift migration deadline is upon us. Let me play this.
For me, my final message is that ISO 20022 and the migration date for November 2025 is critical. It's critical for domestic and cross-border interoperability, and really will support all of the community to deliver more rich and structured data and really optimize our cross-border payments processing.
All right, remember the reason this is important for financial institutions because they're all going to be on the same messaging standard, and this is going to empower Ripple. You're having the entire banking system upgrade its infrastructure to support a technology that Ripple that is, built on top of, right? ISO 20022 messaging standard. This only benefits the companies like Ripple who have built the technology for the future. And also, if banks do not migrate by 2026, they actually will start getting fined and they will block them from using the system. So it is coming. All right, guys, I will leave it there. It is Sunday. We're going to go put up the Christmas tree. We're doing it a little early this year because I love to put the Christmas tree up. Happy holidays. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for watching this video. If you got any value, you can like, share, leave a comment down below. But just thank you for being here. I'll see you next time. I'm Crypto Sensei. Peace.